what they call the rise of social enterprise, right? Businesses are beginning to realize the importance of this trend, right? And Forbes recently called this a new paradigm, a new business opportunity, a new way for you to build your business proposition, right? So that you are no longer just pursuing benefit for yourself, all right? But building your business model around a greater group, right? And recently also, Harvard Business Review, right, in their article in October 2019, they say 8 years ago they launched a global study, all right, into high growth companies, all right, investigating 3 important strategies, right, creating new markets, serving broader stakeholder, and changing the rules of the game. And what is surprising, they also found a 4th driver, a 4th enabler to all this high growth business, and that is about purpose, right? Knowing how to achieve purpose into their business model. So there are 3 parts to this, to what we're trying to do, right? All right. So we talk about pursuing purposeful business, building a business community. All right, and then also we organize this annual mega event where everybody can come together. All right. So what's new for this year? Right. So this year in 2020, we actually want to we have 2 other partners that we will run the events together. All right. One is ASEAN CSR, where we will do the ASEAN CSR conference, and sorry, my background a bit noisy. And the second part is our own Brands for Good, our Brands for Good award. And third, also we are partnering with the Invention Convention to run their award. So Invention Convention has always been doing their award in US, right? So for the first time, they're doing it in Singapore, and they picked us as their co-organizer, right? So that's where you are. And for ASEAN CSR, we work with NUS for them. So they are doing a research on how technology can play a role in positive impact, right? So we will launch the research study during the conference, right? And then this is Invention Convention. So they've done this. Their global event has always been held in US. So the last round is Singaporean. As you look at the picture of the small boy, right? Is a Singaporean 6 years old who won the award. Yeah. So that's Brands for Good, right? And yeah, so that's how we're going to do it. So Brands for Good, we have 5 categories, right? We have the business, the leadership, capital, design, and technology. These are the 5 categories of award that we are looking at. So we hope that all of you can join us, all right? Nominate yourself, okay? Now, so also another question people always ask, right? So why should they join our community? I think there are 8 reasons we like to propose. One is, I think we tie up with financing institutions such as Maybank, and I think plus others. We also have some financing institutions who have become our award winner. All right. So I hope that through this network, they can offer you some insight, and I think not just that, also direct financing. Right. So I think we're also quite knowledgeable about government grants. So for those of you who need guidance, we can share with you more insight. And with partners like Jason, right, we work on the ASEAN market to help our SME gain insight, all right. And also, so we built this community so that we can give community support, right. Today, as Brands for Good has about 300 companies, so we hope, so we think we are quite sizable. So we also try to organize various interest group. All right, interest group revolving around any particular topics that we can then pursue together. We also tie up with many trainers. So I think our second run of this Emerging Stronger series, like Charlie Ang, right? So we tie up with him so that you can get all kinds of incentives and benefits, right, to join training programs at a very, very affordable price, right? Then last week we also had Jason Low, who is a technology partner with us. So he ties up with Nokia, with Nomura, with Panasonic, and so these are partners who offer various patents and technology, right? So that if you need to scale the technology gap, right, we can offer you the this bridge, right, to cross into. And I think most importantly, what we do on Brands for Good is we see ourselves as a branding platform, right, to help you raise your brand awareness. So we tie up also with Business Times. And so during our award, we, we create a profiling opportunity, right, from an editorial angle as well as from the advertisement angle. And we also tie up with many other platforms, right, because we see ourselves as a third voice, right, to endorse your business model. In fact, that's what we do. We identify creative business model that can achieve the triple bottom line, as I was telling you, sharing earlier. So these are some examples of the networking event we do. Right, we know business needs a good network in order to succeed. So so we organize these activities, right? So well, for Brands for Good, that's my closing slides. Please nominate yourself. You can get more information on this website, right? So, but let me also run 3 slides actually to tie into what Jason is going to talk about. I like to share some grants information. All right, there are there are a lot of grants now, right, in the market. So sometimes people get very confused, right? So grants, you can look at it from 2 perspectives, right? One is from the applicant perspective, which is from the individual employer or from enterprise. And then from an industry perspective, there are also many industry-specific agency that runs some grants on their own. So, individuals, SkillsFuture is the main driver, all right? To employer, WSG is the main driver. So there are many grants that helps you, that provides you incentives to hire, all right? And then on the enterprise level, of course, all right, there are ESG being the main driver, but they're not the only one who has grant, right? There are many other statutory board has grants as well. Right, so if you look at all these specialized agencies, if you're a technology company, IMDA would have something for you. If you're a financial institution, MAS also got grant for you. If you're a BCA, you're a construction company, BCA has grant. All right, if you're a social enterprise, RAISE has got this thing called Venture for Good, right, and helping 300,000 to help you build your business model. If you're from sports, you're from culture, community, then MCCY. So I'm just citing these as examples to show you that grants go beyond ESG, right? And then if you are in your specialized industry, all right, you can go to your industry to get help. So recently there are a lot of talks about vertical farming and all that, right? And then of course Singapore Food Agency is the driver for this, right? Singapore in total has 15 ministries and more than 50 statutory boards. So now you know why grants can be so confusing, because every one of them have their own grants and they organize it slightly differently. Okay, but let me be a bit specific today, all right, to match what Jason is going to talk about, right? So I think the grant is very relevant for his nature of work. It's called MRA, right? Market Readiness Assistance. So within ESG, these are all the grants, as you can see, right? So MRA is a category of its own. So I want to specifically mention here the MRA, all right, you can do 3 things with MRA, all right? Market promotion, market development, and market setup, okay? So in market promotion, you can either do a marketing activity, all right? That means you hire a PR agency in the country to do some product launch, all right? Or you can go and attend trade show. The second part is business development, right? So this is where traditionally is known as business matching. But recently, they have also added in the OMP, overseas marketing presence, right, into this category, right? So maximum now you can get is 50K from here. And then there's a market setup, right? You can go and do your IP, set up a company, create a licensing agreement, right? And then the one that they add is this thing called FTA consultancy. So that's what it is, all right? So in grant, I always talk about these 5 aspects to think about. Remember your do plan your cash flow, because grant are given on reimbursement basis, all right? Remember to join the queue early because the queue is long, right? So it may take time for them to give you the approval, all right? Understand, no matter what, ESG is still a bureaucracy, so there are rules to follow, all right? People also always ask, do I need to be profitable? Do I need to show revenue? Well, grants across the board requires a 3-year P&L, right? But is it a hard and fast rule? Well, it's not, all right? If you have 1 year, 2 years, sometimes you present your case, they can still give it to you. So I have helped my client who are in the loss, who have been around for just 1 year, they still manage to get their grant, all right? So that's my side of the presentation. But before I move on, I wanted to get Elena and Zero One to share, but I suddenly remember, because Elena also has slides. So because if I let her come in and use a slide, so there's a disruption to the change of screen. So maybe can I get Elena from Maybank? Elena, would you like to share something? I will stop my screen, and then you can share. Elena, are you there?
He's mute. Okay, I am mute. Elena.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Elena, and I'm from Maybank. I'm with Maybank for the past 16 years, and we are in partnership with Brands for Goods for the past 3 years. This is our 3rd year together. Okay, and so being in this partnership, right, it's basically very much what the bank's missions is all about. Maybank's mission statements is basically to provide humanizing financial services. So this is very in line with what the bank is going into and our missions. Okay, so maybe a little bit of koyo about Maybank. Okay, so Maybank is the one of the group home markets and target overseas operation, one of the largest group home market and largest overseas operation. Okay, we have a total asset of about 76.5 billion as of last year, December 2019. Okay, some of you may know because I've already presented for 3 years, for the past 2 years. Okay, Maybank is already so-called a localized bank in Singapore, because in 2018 November, we have already incorporated in Singapore itself. So now we are called Maybank Singapore Limited instead of Malayan Banking Berhad. Okay, so this year happens to be our 60 years, and we are supposedly to be, doing some celebrations lah, but everything will be delayed. And over in Maybank itself, we are a qualifying full bank in Singapore, and we have 27 service locations with over 2,000 Maybankers to provide all the SMEs Tauges here with all your financing and servicing needs. All right. In terms of our missions and what Glenn has mentioned, right? We are here as a sponsors, and also at the same time providing the SMEs Tauge like you the financing needs that you need. All right. Oh, sorry, it wasn't in slides. Okay. So one of the with this current COVID-19, one of the things that we are currently very overwhelmed with applications is the government packages. So I also just want to bring it across and provide what are the basic products that y'all can go for if you're in needs of any cash flow. Because right now, I would think that the current situation, cash flow will be the main things for all SMEs to stay afloat. Okay, so among the various financing, you have the familiar working capital loans, the temporary bridging loans. These two financing itself can add up to a maximum of 6 million that you can work on. Okay, but for us, we will be looking at maximum up to 2 million for our segment. So if you need any financing, you can approach any of the Brands for Goods. All the people know my contact numbers and all my whole team of contact people. So you just let them know that you are keen to find out more about any of the packages. They will be in contact with me. Okay, so other than the cash flow that we can help you with, all right, we also have like term trade loans and loan insurance scheme that also the government gives certain level of subsidies. Okay, so all these facilities, right, that currently we are providing comes with deferment of principal moratorium. That means to say that you actually don't have to pay interest for the first 1 year. That's for the working capital itself. Okay, and that really will ease the cash flow for many SMEs Tauge right now. And if you are an existing customers of Maybank in terms of facility, in terms of secured financing with Maybank, that means you have a property financing with Maybank, right? Maybank is the only one whereby we are providing principal and interest moratorium. That means for the next 6 months until December 31st, you don't have to pay principal and interest for your property loan that is with Maybank. All right, so this is what we are providing currently, and let us know if you do need any of this. Just a very short introductions lah. So if you need more information, let us know, and with that, I will pass it back to Stewart 01, is it?
Yes.
Or Glenn?
Yeah. Thanks. Maybe we just get Stewart to say a few words. Thanks. Stewart is also one of our sponsor in Brands for Good. So Stewart.
Hi. Can I share my screen? I got 4 slides.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Stuart. I'm the founder and CEO of Data01. We came in sometime in 2018. We are the fifth mobile operator, so it's about 2 years right now. So when we came in, we sort of are being known or famous for giving unlimited data at an affordable rate. So currently our 990, which is unlimited data, is doing very well. So I think if you guys want to have unlimited data at an affordable rate, I think you guys should look at 01 today. So this is what we are today. And beginning of the year, we have 2 new plans that we are giving out. We are actually throwing out another additional 3 GB of bonus data for current user and for new sign up. That's one plan. The other plan that we have is actually we are launching a new plan, or we have relaunched a new plan called 30U, which is still unlimited data at a rate of 24.90. Yeah, the last slide is for current user, subscriber, or new subscriber, we are actually giving away 3 GB of data for each month. It's free. It's totally free for every month. Yeah, sorry. So that some of what I'm going to say today. So do visit us at 01.sg. I think we are the only one in the market today is giving away unlimited data, which is really unlimited data in a way that is usable at an affordable rate. Okay, back to Glenn.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. Okay, so I also wanted to share that I had a quick chat with 01 earlier on today, and we're talking about how it is important to sort of enable all our staff on mobility and data plans and all that, right? And I think this is one of the few areas that we tend to forget that, oh, work from home, but then now we start realizing, hey, our staff is also beginning to work from home. They need internet connectivity. As businesses, we also need to start protecting also our own assets, and the assets is actually that connectivity. So something to consider and think about, and I think 01 is a great platform to be on. Okay, so without further ado, before we begin and have the run session, I think we are already 2:30. So I'm going to give the next 5 minutes over to Jeremy. Jeremy is actually from TrueGem, and he actually runs 2 organizations. One is TrueGem, and the other one is Critical Thinking Academy. And he will be sharing with us together with Yabun next week on critical thinking in the new norm. Jeremy, over to you.
Yep, Jeremy here. Yeah, our topic will be critical thinking and new norm. And why I run 2 organizations, run a separate critical thinking organization, because I have been using critical thinking for the past 3-4 years to run the fund management company. Yeah, I think all of us hope that the COVID-19 pandemic will end very soon, hopefully this week or next week. But I think it's not going to be that short, right? So, and things will never go back to normal. And I think as all of us have experienced during this period, many things are changing and have changed and may continue to change very rapidly. Look at all the policy come out from all the different governments. It's a shocking this time. And many aspects of our society, economy will never return back to normal before. And Yabun and I basically have been doing a lot of research this period on COVID-19, the consequences, and what might evolve over the next few years. And so in our seminar next week, we'll share a very deep understanding of the new norm, the drivers that will change the world to come, and the impact across the value chain, and how a critical thinking framework, which is my forte, is important to guide organization through this unprecedented storm, and key consideration to remodel our business and change ourselves to be the new norm are relevant. What is critical thinking, you may ask? It's basically a purposeful and evaluative thinking process and enabled by our habits of mind. I can tell you we are still probably carry the same habits of mind during this period. I think, but when facing new norm, we need to change habit of mind. So what are the best practices and habits of mind we are share with you? And this allows us to derive or arrive at the judgment on a subject matter. Primary critical thinking basically make use of questions and make use of reasoning instead of using faith, common sense, or intuition. Of course, there are a lot of COVID-19 seminars out there now, and we don't plan to be anonymous in the crowded space. So this session is basically relevant for leaders, organizations that will benefit from a deeper understanding of the new norms and how can we use critical thinking to overcome it, and not just on the left brain, but on the right brain perspective as well. So that's what I'm going to share next week, Tuesday. So I see you. Thank you, Glenn.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeremy, and thank you for the opportunity. So as you can see, a lot of the things that we are doing is slightly different. It is always aligned in an alignment with our Emerge Stronger plans. Our whole idea we've emerged stronger is we want businesses to not only just survive through this COVID-19 situation, but to come out stronger. And I think Singapore, being Singapore businesses, we have the opportunity to do so. There are many things that are in our advantage, right? And then don't just simply think about the challenges that you face today. There are lots of opportunities. I mean, low access to funds. Maybank has just shown you that. So access to funds is one area. Another area, of course, is funding. And then Alan also shared with you that ESG for MRA alone has gone up from $20,000 to $100,000. Of course, that includes overseas market presence. And please don't think that just because COVID is here, that MRAs, there are no funding for MRAs. It is done. I think about a month and a half ago, we had an MRA approved for a client to Cambodia, right? And that is essentially a drawer plan. It's something that we cannot execute because obviously can't travel, but it's something that's ready. It's in hand. It's approved. We've got sort of the love letter from ESG on that, and that allows the business to actually go overseas when the travel corridor is sort of open. At the same time, of course, Jason has also shared with us that business matching can also be done not only physically, can also be done online, right? And I think that's something that Jason will probably share a little bit more about how it can be done moving ahead as well. All right, so without further ado, Jason, wait, before we begin, Jason, sorry, I want to do one thing that's a little bit different. Can I take a group photo? Because I know we haven't done it before for our past events, and I think it will be very nice for all of us to sort of turn on our cameras. Okay, I comb your hair as well. If everyone can sort of do me a favor, turn on all your cameras, and then we can sort of do a quick screenshot, and then then we can take a group photo, right? So okay, let me do one. Who's M? Okay, can everyone smile, right? Okay, I'm gonna do two because it's a few pages, so I need to do a few screenshots. So smile, let's do one. Okay. Slide 2. Okay, smile. 2. And then slide 3. Okay. So I know it's a bit strange. This is the new norm already, right? Taking group photos using screenshots. Okay, so without further ado, I will pass it on to Jason. And just a gentle reminder, we will have breakout sessions and networkings after at 3:30 for half an hour as well. Right, Jason, over to you.
Okay, I muted myself, right? So yeah, thanks Glenn, and thanks Alan for bringing me into this event, right? So basically, for what I have done in Cambodia is actually nothing really great. It's just that I was happening to be there at the right place at the right time. Yeah, so I, basically, when I look into this whole market, I was very impressed by what I've seen, and the whole idea of the emerging market really comes into real life, right? So, well, I mean, in this segment of the event, when I talk to you guys later part, is that you can ask me questions, I can answer you, all right, more about this market, where I've been there, going through quite a lot of market research, as well as business matching I've done across different sectors, all right, to give you all this insight of this market, right? So can I share my screen with you guys?
Yes, go ahead.
Yep, thanks. Okay, so this is my slide, all right? Right, so everybody can see? right? Okay, so we are talking about venturing into Cambodia today, and everybody knows that Cambodia is one of ASEAN rising market, right? And there's a lot of talks going around that people are going into different places like Vietnam or Myanmar, right? But Cambodia has always been left out, right? So why is it so? It's because a lot of people has been having this fear that, well, to go into Cambodian market, sometimes you have to face the bombs, face the guns, the mines, and but basically it's not that dangerous at all, right? So when I went to Cambodia in 2016, and what I've seen over there is basically like what the picture you have seen in front of you, right? And it is just underdeveloped, right? And a lot of sands on the streets, on the road, but it's filled with very nice people, right? So I got attracted by this market, and the reason why is because this market itself, the people there are very willing to learn, right? As well as they are willing to strive and accept new changes, right? So, well, I mean, I will introduce my company to you, right? My company is called SCBI. Right, let's give me a minute. All right. Okay, so I founded this in 2017, and over this last year, have helped more than 100 over Singapore companies to enter into this market across 14 sectors. So basically, when we talk about clients, it could be clients into FMCGs, client is into architecturals or any form of digital solutions, right? So that gives us a lot of insight to the market while we bring our clients deeper, right? So we are very specialized into feasibility studies. So with meaning is that when we go into this market, first and foremost, we need to provide information and intelligence about this market, right? And things like pricing, things like competitor analysis, right? Then things like who is the market top 5 players in these segments, right? So we need to actually provide all these feasibilities for our clients, all right, so that we can prepare the market entry processes for them, right? From there, we can have a proof of concept, because it doesn't mean that what you have done in Singapore is guaranteed success into Cambodia. You still need some time to build up your concept or proof, to make sure that things are moving, people can accept your products, right? And once we have done the proof of concept, we will go into the stage of the fundraising, right? So we have done quite a lot of fundraising projects for our clients as well. Yeah. And over our 3 to 4 years in this market, we are also proud to share with all our Singapore friends that we are the first Singapore company co-working space in Cambodia, right? Providing the one-stop business solutions, right? So if you can see from the left side of the picture, the 5-story building is actually my office, right? So we have 5 floors that we actually use to let companies run their business operations. We provide tax accounting for them and virtual office solutions, right? So this whole place is, in my opinion, I really love this place because the design is great. The interior design totally looks like you are in Singapore, when you are there, right? So yeah. So one of the interesting thing about Cambodia is that when you set up a business in this country, you can own the company 100%, right? Unlike other countries like Thailand, Philippines, where there's a lot of restrictions, right? Cambodia is just very straightforward, just 100% you can own the company, whether is it a company or is it an individual, right? So we have set up a lot of companies in the last 3 to 4 years, right? So you can see from here. And I think some of you have also been here before to my workspace, like Glenn, Alan, when they're in Cambodia, they have been here. Huni as well, Albert as well, all right? Yeah, okay. Yes, as mentioned before by Alan, we have done quite a lot of MRA projects, okay, when we mentioned about MRA projects, is about helping companies to enter the market at a reduced cost, right? So when I first entered the market, it cost me about $40,000, $50,000, right, in the first 6 months. And from there, I was, you know, it's like having that sum of money to burn just to enter the market and to have a foothold, right, over there, right? So in fact, let's say if somebody is going to enter this market, they will also have to come up with this type of sum, right? Going to a new market is not like $1,000, $2,000 kind of package, right? It takes more, like an example, your traveling costs and your eating, your entertainment costs, and all these things, right? So we provide this support in the MRA, and working together with Glenn and Alan, all right, to help more companies to go into this market. All right, so MRA is a must-have, right, when you want to enter a new market. It really cut down your risk and your exposure, right? Okay, so things that what we have done over there in Cambodia is we really help our clients to go in and speed up their entry, all right, through customized business matching, right? So we don't really do the kind of business missions or group trips to bring people to see the market or whatsoever, but we only work one by one with the client so that they can have the best of their time with us, right? So one of our esteemed customer would be Ballarat. Ballarat is actually currently one of the OCBC digital solution partners, right? So we help them, and eventually they have gotten what they want in this market, right? So we also help certain companies like HR companies. We brought them to universities. We help them to secure joint venture partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce, right? So that is where we kickstart the growth of the client when they enter this market, right? And we have also brought in quite a number of different sectors of clients like Ong and Ong, which is from architectural, nature farm, Monsanto tea, right? And as part of our client base that we have brought in. So example for Ballarat, we JV, we actually did a JV with the largest payment solution company called WingPay, right? So this is a great achievement for them. And after they have signed this agreement, they achieve another round of funding from their Singapore investors, because to the Singapore investors, this is a step to expansion. This is a very bullish kind of sentiment that they are giving to their investors, right? So that is something that you can do in Cambodia as well, all right? If you are working into the path of raising equities for yourself, all right? And from Cambodia, you can also go into the regional markets like Vietnam or Myanmar or Thailand because of the strategic locations of Cambodia itself, right? So when we talk about language-wise in Cambodia, most of us are speaking in English, or I also can Chinese. I speak Chinese with the people there as well, right? So language is no barrier, right? And over the last 4 years, I also picked up some, some language in Tamil language, right? Enough to get by my daily transportations, right? So yeah, so basically this is something that we did, we had to do it in Cambodia. So this is the market overview, right? Cambodia, right, is located in the south of the Indochina Peninsula. It's located central of Indochina, right? Anywhere from Cambodia, you want to go into ASEAN, it takes you about 2 hours, right? And it takes you about 3 hours to go into China, right? And about 2 hours to Philippines, 2 hours to Singapore, 1 hour, 40 minutes to Singapore, right? And anywhere. So it's very centralized. It's very strategically located in this part of our world, right? And it's mainly a flat land, right? Very low mountains. And it's served by a lot of important rivers like Tonga Sap River and Mekong River, right? I believe His Excellency Sakamau right? If he's here, he will probably can tell you, his story of his young days, spending along the river, because that is what people are spending on that time, during their early days. Yeah. So Cambodia is actually dollarized economy at 85%, right? So when you go into Cambodia, you don't need to worry about bring in money and bring money out, right? So there is no form of restrictions, right? When it comes to, inflow and outflow, right? And their local currency is called Khmer Reals, all right? So $1 USD is equivalent to 4,000 Khmer Reals, right? And the GDP is about 24.22%, 24.22 billion, right? And the official language would be, I would say, English is widely used, all right? So some people will be asking, why would Cambodia be such a place that you can speak so much about English, all right? It's because during the early days, after the Khmer Rouge, the Cambodia Civil War, there's a lot of missionaries that gone into Cambodia and teach English. All right, so the poor and the needy, they managed to get this language, right, from all these teachers, from all these mission church and mission schools, right? So there's major cities like Siem Reap and Sihanoukville and Battambang. All right, so we have one friend zooming from Sihanoukville right now, right, watching us live. Okay, all right. So the rest of the details you can actually take note. The king as King Norodom Sihamoni and the Prime Minister Hun Sen, right? So relevantly, this country has been very politically stable for the last 35 years, since 1985, when PM Hun Sen has taken the leadership of this country, right? So this is the map of Cambodia, right? The population is only about 17 million people, and yet the land is so huge, right? Okay. So, right, so the language, as I mentioned, you don't have to worry, you don't need to learn the language to do business there, you can speak English, right? So I remember the time when I went to Jakarta as part of my explorations, I can't speak Bahasa, right? But when I go to Cambodia, I can speak English, I can Chinese, and I feel easy to communicate and do business, right? And Cambodians are not all black, right? There's still a lot of Chinese ethnic citizens, right, living over there. So the government type is constitutional monarchy. This is the king, right? And this is the prime minister. And major religion is Buddhism, right? So if you ask about safety level, that the crime rate is actually very low, right? Because there's a lot of Buddhists, right? Buddhists are known to be more mellow when it comes to their aggressions, right? Yeah, so very politically stable for now. I would think for still a long time to come, it's still very stable, right? Right, so you can take note that this Cambodia is a member of quite a lot of international organizations. So the foreign direct investments, right, up to 2018 has always been very high, right, has been increasing, right? So when I went to Cambodia in 2016, all right, I get to see the surge in investment, whereby a lot of Chinese begin to crowd the airport in Phnom Penh, and so there are vast loads of Chinese going in and out every single day from the airport, right? And so for me to clear to the customs, it would take me sometime about 1 hour, yeah. But during 2016, it just take me about 5 minutes. I can get through it, yeah. So what to look out for in Cambodia moving onwards from the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So everybody knows that COVID has caused the world to change, and there's a lot of different type of perspective that we'll be looking at in the business world, all right? And people changes, the world changes, business changes, all right? And the consumer as well has changed, all right? So this is throughout the world, not just in Singapore, but throughout the world, right? But to you is that Cambodia very strong with its own economy, all right? This government is definitely very friendly to business, and we believe that during this COVID crisis And from now onwards, there will be a lot more policies that will be, supportive for foreign direct investments to come in, right? And strategic locations located in the middle of Indochina, right, is where the Chinese, they are very, very interested on as well, right? Because Cambodia is a neighbor to Thailand, right, and it's a neighbor to Vietnam, right? So in order for the Chinese to build their presence, right, for the One Belt One Route, they cannot skip Cambodia. In fact, they have to use Cambodia as the main base for expansion for their One Belt One Route directions, right? And we during this crisis where the Chinese are coming in even much in greater force, right? Cambodia will bounce back, right? Even greater, even much stronger than before, right? Due to more policies that we believe that will be implemented to encourage investments, especially from China, right? So there's a lot of untapped market opportunities in all sectors, right? And the quality of life, the growing middle class rising, right? It's because of a lot of foreign direct investments comes in, people starts to work in manager roles, you know, from a average salary of $200, they can go up to 500, 600 easily, right? So we have quite a number of staff that we paid them actually is on the middle level, all right? 600 to 800, or we have even from $1,000 to $2,000 USD per month that we actually hire them to grow our business in Cambodia. And there is a lot of competitive labor force, very cheap land as well, right? And if you look for, especially in the factory productions line, well, I mean, this is actually a great place to be in because the land is cheap, the labor is cheap as well. The cost of product will be very low, right? So the pillars of growth, we have the government industries, the real estates, tourism, agricultural. Well, I mean, there's a report just came out, a newspaper report just came out 7 days ago that Cambodia is one of the biggest losers in the COVID pandemic, right? And I fully agree. Okay, why? Because right now the garment industry is going through a lot of changes. A lot of factory owners are moving out, having no orders. So there are hundreds and thousands of garment workers left without jobs, right? So these people are mainly located in the 24 provinces in Cambodia, right? So, well, I mean, when you look into the growth pivot from here, right? So what we are believing is that the Chinese will be coming in even greater, right? Because they will be actually shifting their factories for mass productions to Cambodia, right? Which we are already seeing now, right? So, so this crisis will not stop the Chinese, all right? They will be coming in even stronger than before, right? Right. So for real estate and constructions, is also a very important pillar. All right. We have some friends that owns buildings, that some friends they are developers, right? So they are also affected during this pandemic, right? But the thing is that if you are into this sector, you should be looking into areas like affordable housing for Cambodians, right? It's because as the capital Phnom Penh, the city center, as is going back to life again, right? Those people that are staying in Phnom Penh originally, they will need to move out to the suburbs. So the affordable housing projects will still be lively, right? And I just did a check recently from my friend. She's doing real estate in Cambodia. She said that prices now has dropped as well as from about 30%. All right, so there's a lot of cheap and good assets in good locations that you can actually go in to position yourself for the next 5 years or 10 years, right? So my take is that affordable housing will still continue to be bullish, right, in the trend for the time to come, right? So if you are a construction company in Singapore, you have never been able to become a developer in your whole life, this is a good time for you to explore, right? You can become your own developer, right? Because now there's a lot of skilled workforce, Cambodian local skilled workforce, construction workers, right? Now they are stuck in Cambodia. They can't go to Thailand for better jobs, right? So there's a lot of supply of manpower right now as well. So tourism, badly affected, but unlikely for long, right? So my friend owns one of the big hotel in Cambodia. He says that there's nobody staying right now. So that is for sure, because there's no aeroplane moving around. So of course they are affected, right? So agricultural, right, is definitely one of the areas that we are also very bullish on. So later part, I will be asking one of my buddy, right, to give some to give some side insights for the agricultural industries, right? So Nicholas, are you there? Hi, Nicholas.
I am. Yes, I am. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Nicholas. Your
Hi.
video is off. Yeah.
Yes,
I can't
yes.
see you.
It's on now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Nicholas is actually he's a Singaporean, but he's based in Cambodia. He used to work in the bank, but he became a farmer in Cambodia 8 years ago, right? So he has about 100 hectares of mango land, right? And he produce fertilizers. So Nicholas, maybe you can let us know how is the situation right now in Cambodia for the agricultural sectors.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Basically, for the agriculture sector, it is not affected much by the COVID in terms of the continuous growing and expansion of agriculture land. It is an opportunity to develop the business there in terms of trying to build a kind of like maybe a sustainable kind of farm where you can actually supply to the local markets and to the supply to the local wholesalers. But I think COVID has also opened up a lot of people's ideas on safe foods, organic foods, and all these food sustainability and food safety. So yeah, definitely Cambodia, I see a surge in purchase of raw materials from me and growing of expansion of more farms, because ever since the border was closed, they realized that they need to be sustainable themselves instead of always exporting to Vietnam and Thailand. Yeah.
I see.
I think that's very big sector, because agriculture, we're talking about growing your own stuff, we're talking about manufacturing of raw materials, machinery, blockchains. We're talking about high technology, IT, IoT of farming. So it's really a very big sector. And if anyone is involved in either one of these sectors, I think IoT for agriculture is definitely something that definitely something to look at as we expand from there. Yeah. But for me, I've been farming there for about 8 to 10 years, and we have our ups and downs in terms of weather and fighting sometimes the unexpected ups and downs of the pricing for commodities. But in general, it's still a very stable business, because food is something that we need every day. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Nicholas. Right. So if you have seen the China News Asia, they like to always go to Cambodia and film him, right? So if you want to find out more about any agricultural kind of insight, he is the right man to look for, right? Yeah. So thanks, Nicholas. Thanks.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Right. So the key focuses into this market, right? I'm always a very forward-looking person, right? Despite the fact that COVID-19 has caused great damages throughout the whole world, right? But the thing is that from every crisis, there's always an opportunity, right? So what I've actually been speaking to all my friends, checking all these informations with them, what is going on in Cambodia, right? Is that things are changing, all right? And probably the same as how Singapore is moving towards as well, right? Okay, so let's focus on to the digitalization. Okay, for now, right? All the schools, preschools will be closed until November this year in Cambodia, right? So to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 among the children as well, right? So right now the students are all e-learning, all right? As for the student itself, right, you know, when they go into e-learning, you know, things that they can learn academically, what I feel is that they can also learn through Singapore curriculum as well. All right. So previously, when we look into opening up schools in Cambodia, where there's some very big schools from SIM that opens in Cambodia, it's called SCBI, right? Yeah. So these are the type of players in this field, all right, for educations, right? So today, let's say if you're into the education line, if you want to go into preschool trainings, preschool educations, or even you are a corporate trainer, right? There's a lot of demand from the Cambodian economic society, all right, to learn things from you, right? So what it means by that is that whenever we have Singaporean trainers, usually is full house. And why? Because the Singapore brand sells for itself, and the Cambodian trust Singapore brand, right? So today, if let's say if you want to sell courses like Amazon trainings, or you want to sell training topics like leadership or sales, right? As long as you have a label of Singapore, you come from Singapore, your better is half won, all right? So that is how high demand is in Cambodia right now. So we also have heard of some players from Singapore that came to Cambodia to do e-clinics, right, and fintechs as well. So for these two segments, you know, it is I would say there's a lot of demands for that, right? And if you have the platform, if you have the technology, right, you can be linked to almost all the top hospitals, right, to get things going for you as well in Cambodia, right? So fintech definitely is required in Cambodia. Why? Because as Cambodian economy is going towards de-dollarizations, there's going to be a lot of gaps for you to fill, a lot of opportunities for you to fill in the financial sector, right? So if you are from this field, you can actually, you know, consider going into studies to see how Cambodian market will help you to grow and expand your business, right? Just like I mentioned about real estates and constructions, real estate is probably, you know, evergreen in everywhere in the world, good times and bad times. It's just technically how you go into the market, right? As I mentioned to you, I am bullish over the affordable housing in Cambodia. We feel that fundamentally there's still a lot of people do not have a proper place to stay, right? Right now, like most of my friends who are staying in Cambodia, some of them are staying in the back alley, right, of rundown buildings, right? So in order to go home, they have to go back to the back alley, open up the door, walk up the staircase, and inside there's a small compartment. That is where they're staying, right? So things will change definitely in the next 5 years of how they're going to live, right? Okay, so when you talk about the next area would be merger and acquisitions. Okay, so COVID has also revealed a lot of potential opportunities for anyone who will want to go in to enter into a position where they can buy low and sell high, right? So what it means is, example, there could be a very famous restaurant in the Uptown district in Phnom Penh, and because of the COVID situation, they are bankrupt, right? But that doesn't mean that their business has no value in the long run. They still have some value, but they have run out of cash flows, all right? So if you were to go in to do an M&A with them, that is a good time, because they already have their infrastructure set up, their system set up, their own database of clientele, but just that they cannot you know, survive through this period. All right, so there's a lot of this type of opportunities around, all right, for M&A. Even for schools, if you are you know, school owners, this is a good time for you to look into preschools, all right? Before COVID, you know, we normally have done a lot of business matching, and one of the clients that I brought in is one of the biggest player in training and preschools in Singapore, right? When they went to ask for merger or joint venture partnerships with all these preschool owners. All these preschool owners, they are not interested to even talk about selling their shares to them, right? But during this period, it's different, right? They are open to hear for offers or even take over, right? Agricultural is just one aspect that Nicholas has mentioned. Immigration of high net worth individual. This is actually, we're talking about the affluent market, right? Cambodians, there's also a large, or I would say a large group of people having cash, after they sell off their land, right? In the last 3 to 4 years, right? So they have no idea how they're going to spend the money. So they went on to buy Rolls Royce, Land Rovers, Lexus 570, right? And so they have been spending money on all these areas, right? So the thing is that because of this COVID situation, right, they might be looking to shift their assets outside from Cambodia, right, into countries where there is stability, such as Singapore, right? So if you are into this aspect of area, there's definitely a market for you, right? And there's a lot of people who want to send their children to Singapore to study, right? And that is where you can be there to support on the PR applications, right, of the children, right? And the next aspect will be the fast-moving consumer goods. Okay, FMCG is a very big market in Cambodia, but it's not in the capital of Cambodia, right? FMCG is the biggest market for FMCG in Cambodia is actually in the provinces, right? So the provinces is where the majority of the population are staying at, right? Cambodia and Phnom Penh is the capital. So Phnom Penh only have about 3 million, 4 million people staying there, right? But about of 13 million people are staying among the 24 provinces, right? Where goods somehow has difficulty to go in, right? So if you have something that can move into all these 24 provinces by looking for a good distributor, they can expand for you in a very fast way, right? And these people must already have a network of retail outlets, right? All these areas, they must have a reseller network, right, for you to move faster, right? So we are also working on some projects for Singapore company where we will help them to actually do some in-store marketing into their supermarkets and to help them to bring their products into the provinces, right? So we believe this will be, this will be very successful for them is because the provinces don't have so much of a competition, right, for their range of products, right? If they go in, they are one of the few in the province, right? So these are the areas that we'll be looking at. In SCBI, we'll be looking into these segments, post-COVID situation. I mean, when the market recovers, things will actually move even faster, right? So if you look into Singapore investments in Cambodia, there's a lot of them that came in the last few years as there's Aussie Holdings, right? There's also companies like ISDN Energy. ISDN Energy is actually my client. We support them in Cambodia, right? So they do hydro plants in Cambodia, right? And so we also have companies from SIM doing the education sectors, right? So Singaporean companies are moving in, right? And we have a very good support in Cambodia for the foreign community, right? And this group is actually, we call this group called the Singapore Club Cambodia, right? Where I'm also the member inside. Yeah, so this group is where we will come in to support one another, to network and help each other to integrate better into this market. Yes. So up to this stage, there's any questions that you have for me? I'm able to take questions from the floor. Yeah.
Hi guys, does anyone have any questions for Jason? If you do, you can either post it. Maybe we can start with a question from one of the chats. I noticed that
There was a question that business and manufacturing have to compete with Chinese investors. It is not easy to compete with them. What is your advice on this?
This question is from WK.
Okay, it's not easy to compete with the Chinese investors, right?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So the Chinese are coming in with large sum of money into Cambodian market, right? And when you look into any form of purchasing, right? Just example, last year in Sihanoukville, right? The Singaporean tenant will be willing to pay $2,000 for a shop house, right? But when the Chinese came in, they're willing to offer $10,000 per month, all right? So that is how it is competing right now, you know, between the Singaporeans and the Chinese, or any other countries that is competing with the Chinese. They are really flushing with a lot of cash. Yeah.
Alina from Axis has a question on housing development in Cambodia. Who can
Yeah.
they talk to?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, for housing development, as I mentioned, right, the low risk approach is to go into the affordable housing projects. You know, so you do not need too much capital. You just need to have a good marketing plans, right? And somewhere about 50 kilometers from the city center, it could be a good location for you to start with as well, right? So, but when you look into property markets in Cambodia, in the city center itself, you should be looking into rental market. So the renting market is somewhere giving you about 7, 8, 9% in terms of the yield, right? An example is that we have a property in Cambodia which we bought for 50,000, right? So and this property, you know, in terms of the rental value, it can fetch about $400 per month, right? So $400 you multiply by 12 is about 48,000. So it's almost equivalent to 9 to 10% ROI per year, right? So that is where you look into the city center for your investment, right? For the housing market. But outside city center, you should be looking into affordable housing. Yeah.
Alina, did that answer your question? Wasn't sure whether are you asking specifically for rental. Alina, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm asking for on behalf of some friend. So maybe I need a name and a number so that I can pass it on.
Oh, okay, I
Alina,
see.
I've seen you before.
Sorry?
I've seen you before, you know, we met before.
Oh, good. Hi.
Okay, Alina, I will link you up with Jason subsequently, and then maybe you can connect with him. There are actually a few property developers, even Singaporean ones there as well. So depending on your budget and what's needed there as well, we can sort of
Wonderful.
connect.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a question from Nicholas. Nicholas, do you want to sort of verbalize what your Nicholas Ju? Are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. So I basically run a after-school enrichment program, or rather a franchise, and we're looking to expand further into the ASEAN region. Most of the business today is in mainland China and the greater China area. So Cambodia is one of the markets that we're looking at. We previously explored it about a few years back, but we didn't think it was ready. So this is something that I would like to hear from Jason. How is the market today?
Okay. For all these after-school enrichment programs, dramas, or robotics, right, training programs, definitely there is a market for you in Cambodia, right? So the reason is because you know, the Cambodians, they really respect the Singapore education's program and curriculum, right? And they really need to learn from Singapore. That is what their mindset is, right? Just that if you were to go into this market, the first important thing that you need to convince yourself is that will you be willing to stay in this market, right? 2-3 weeks per month, right? To give yourself the commitment to grow you know, and to help you to build up your profiling in this market. All right. So a lot of things can be done for education and programs, but the next question would be, you know, would there be any form of your commitment, right? Will you be willing to be stationed there for 2 to 3 weeks for at least a year to set your base? All right. So that is actually very important question that you need to ask yourself. If you do, then I will be very certain to tell you that you will definitely see some successes. All right. Yeah. So that is actually there's no magic formula for this to succeed. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jason.
Yes. Yeah.
Yabun is got a question. Yabun, are you there? You want to sort of Yabun is our next week speaker, and he's also here this week with us.
Yes.
You mentioned.
Yeah, my question is: a 7 to 8% return. Is it the developers guaranteed, or this is the actual market rate?
Okay, basically, there is no guaranteed for 7 to 8% unless you purchase the property called Osley in the early days, right? So in Singapore, there's one developer called Osley. So they set up the Osley Woodbridge building in Cambodia, which is advertised in Singapore. They give some GRR to it, right? But the thing is that I am not too favorable for GRR project because you are actually paying a higher price, the premium, for you to get back the GRR. So actually you are paying first, but you are getting back later yourself. Yeah, so but when you talk about the rental market in Cambodia, 7 to 8% can be achievable, right? Even if you go in for a very small property like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, right? It's because the affordability level of these people staying in your apartment or your studio, they can afford like $200 to $300 per month. Right, so that is where you have to know where the locals are going to move and where they need to stay and what is their affordable level, right, for you to get this kind of returns. Yeah, so we also have a few friends that here, like Albert. You know, Albert, is Albert here? Okay, maybe he's not here. So yeah, we can introduce you some people.
Hi.
You know? Yeah. Hi, Albert. Hi. So Albert is also going into Cambodia for real estates, right? Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for the support.
Yes, no problem. Yeah. So if there's a few property consultancy you can look for, Albert is one of them. Yeah.
If I am not wrong, also SMC is here today.
There's a question on what are the manufacturing industries that are trending in Cambodia? Are the industrial parks in the city you established?
Okay, what are the manufacturing industries that are trending in Cambodia? At this moment, I would say that government will face a temporary drop in terms of their volume, their orders, is because a lot of retail malls in the world are not facing enough orders, right? Like Adidas, or even let's say shoemakers like Pedro, they are not having too much of the orders because people are not buying. So at this moment, during the COVID situation, we should be looking into a drop in the garment side. But if you're looking into some form of mass productions, like even FMCG productions, yes, I think it will go very well, right? So we should be expecting Cambodian government to introduce more investors-friendly policies, all right, than before, right? And this should be directed towards the Chinese, okay, because the Chinese are the ones that bring in a lot of funds into this country. Like during the good old days, when online gaming is approved to function, operate in Cambodia, there's a lot of money moving around in the city, right? Yeah. So, example, when we have the Chinese coming in to invest into Cambodia, one of my friend who owns a mee pok shop in Cambodia, he's a Singaporean, right? One night he can actually deliver 200 packets of mee pok at $5 USD, right? At least. So you can see how much growth we can actually achieve, you know, when these people are coming in to invest. Yeah. Yeah. So we also have questions from Huni. Huni, there's a question. Yes, Huni, you are saying it right. The healthcare market is actually a gap. Recently, in the last 1 year, we have seen many different healthcare companies coming in. Example, SGMC, you know, example, Hospital, right? So these are some of the healthcare companies that came in, right? So Huni, you have some question to ask, to mention to ask, or you had some input?
Hi, yeah, I was just trying to help you answer some questions because I think, you know, I'm here, I'm quite familiar with a lot of things here. So yeah, find me for your support if you need me. Anyway, Jason, you know I'm talking to you and all that. So well, apparently some people think that I'm trying to steal the show, but whatever.
No problem.
Yeah.
So the next question.
I'm doing real estate here, so I know the market pretty well because I talk to lots of people. I'm in the real estate, you know, industry here. I do have lots of local friends, so I talk to the locals as well. So basically understand the local mindset. If you're just going to operate the Singapore way here in Cambodia, you won't last a long time. Okay, it's a shark zone here. So yeah, survive, adapt, accept, adapt, and try. If not, just
yeah,
die.
thanks, Winnie. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. Is there any other questions? Mike, you have a message just now that you want to learn about the M&A opportunities. There's a lot right now in Cambodia. A lot of F&B shops are bankrupt. They cannot open.
Actually, you're right. We don't need ACTU's approval.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah, but
so any questions? Anybody else? We have some questions to ask.
Yeah, may I ask a question? About 2 to 3 years ago, I went to a place in Cambodia, which is we just crossed from Vietnam. And this industrial estate is developed by the Chinese. And I saw the workers' wages there. That's about 2 to 3 years ago. It's about 30 to 50 US dollar per month. Is this still existing? Having this sort of wages?
Okay, when you cross from Vietnam border to Cambodia border, the town that you first will come across will be called Ba Bet. Okay, Ba Bet is where there's a lot of casinos located, right? So basically, they are hiring a lot of provincial workers, all right? So their starting salary could be like $50, but there is other type of benefits that they have not yet told you about, like example, overtime, example, food, right? So if it comes up to be the minimum wage in Cambodia could be about, if I'm not wrong, it's about $180 this range, plus minus, right? I can't really recall the figures. So the Chinese, if they want to come in to do their development, somehow they don't really follow the rules, right? So they set their own rules and they work along with it. But the problem is that with a lot of Chinese developers that comes in, they bring their own workers, right? Because they cannot communicate well, or there could be another reason is that the Cambodians, they are not skilled enough to work fast to their standards, right? So we have seen a lot of people from Heilongjiang and Xinjiang that came over to Cambodia to work as construction workers, right? Because how I know is because I'm staying very near to them because yeah, their place is just near opposite my apartment. Yeah, yes.
Okay, yeah, since you know they are being employed quite cheaply, is there any minimum wage? I mean, by the government for such certain province?
Yes, there's a minimum wage, you know, given to the provincial workers. All right, so these are all the low-income workers. The government actually set as a price range of about $180 plus minus, you know. Yeah, but if you look into their actual wage, right, it's actually not so low. because there's a lot of overtime, right? So one of my friend who owns a factory in Cambodia, he told me his staff is getting paid close to about 280 USD or 300 USD per month. All right. I think Nicholas could also explain to you about his worker salary, you know. So there's a lot of other bonuses that you need to pay to them. And if you don't pay, then they will go to labor unions and give you some trouble. Yeah. And that is answering to Richin's questions about the labor law. Labor law is protective, all right, over the employees. Yeah. And Cambodia, one thing about Cambodia is that there's a lot of holidays, right? If I'm not wrong, next year will drop to 22 days of holidays, private holidays per year, right? Which is quite high side, right? But the good thing about them is that you can hire them at a good price of, $200, $300 per month, which is affordable. Yeah.
Refer to my earlier question, that's why we have to compete with the Chinese. Yes. Now, the Chinese dare to do anything illegal. So we as a foreigners going there to set up factory or any other business, we dare not to do what the Chinese dare to do. So how are we going to compete with the Chinese?
Okay. If let's say if you were to do anything, right, in terms of manufacturing or engaging the low-income workers, right, basically you need to also look at your own market, right? The Chinese purchase or manufacture their own products to serve their own markets, right? For yourself, you need to also understand where is your end consumer, where are they located, and at what cost can you produce, right? So if you talk about competing with the Chinese, I would say that a lot of Singaporeans went in, they can't compete even with the locals there. Don't talk about the Chinese, all right? Yeah, so like my friend Nicholas, he's a farmer there. He also produced fertilizer. He's the only person that I've seen that have won over the Cambodian pricing as well. He's producing one of the cheapest fertilizer in Cambodia. Even the Cambodian buy from them. All right, so you need to understand about the market and very importantly, right? Yeah, the other way that you can win over the Chinese is that the Chinese cannot speak English, right? And because they can't speak English, right, there's a lot of issues that they might have when it comes to engaging the Cambodian market locally or even the expat market in Cambodia. All right, so give you an example. All right, I have some Chinese friends. They have been staying in Cambodia for 2-3 years, and I asked them, have you ever have any Cambodian clients? All right, during your 2-3 years in Cambodia? They said no. I asked them why. It's because they cannot speak English. All right, so the Cambodian also cannot speak Chinese. All right, so because of that, there's a lot of opportunity for you as well in terms of language. That's your advantage. Yeah, you can speak English, you can speak Chinese, right? So that is where you probably can get some competitive advantage in this market.
Yeah, and that question is based on the environmental. Well, how's the environmental control for air and water? And I saw in Sihanoukville where the air pollution was getting worse because the industry there, basically the Chinese investors, they don't care about environment and they are polluting the whole place. So that's why I say, how are we going to compete the Chinese where we dare not to do, they dare to do, you see?
Okay, in Sihanoukville, yes, there's a big concern on the environmental is that if you go in Sihanoukville, you probably will have to wear a mask even without COVID, right? Because the dust will just overwhelm you, you know. Yeah, so in this town itself, right, when we go into Cambodia, you need to have a good local partners, right? And they are the ones that could actually help you to stay away from some of the rules, right? And or they might have some concessions, right? So you need to actually find a good partner to work with in Cambodia, right? So that's why before you do anything in Cambodia, please do your due diligence first. Look at who is your partner before you can entrust your investment with them as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jason,
Sorry,
can I
Jason, can I just put in a word here?
Yes.
This is Anthony. Jason, I've been in Cambodia since 2017.
Yeah.
Doing business in and out Cambodia. I'm in the healthcare business.
Yeah.
Well, healthcare is one sector that was not never touched on in this. I thought I would expect something on healthcare because that's one of the key elements for a person to understand and caring for himself when he basically migrate or integrate his business to a third world country. So I think healthcare is something that I'm very concerned of. Where do you really see the healthcare concern or where the healthcare status is in Cambodia? You know? Because there's so many gray areas that they're so challenging that even us, we are trying to find a better way to look at it. But the Chinese is also having their own healthcare, but in a very illegal way, which is another big obstacle for us who coming in with proper ethics. So why isn't the government doing anything to remove such uncalled for proceedings in order to help them to develop the country better? So maybe you can tell me why, because this is really a very challenging process for us who are bringing healthcare from Singapore to Cambodia.
So your company name is?
Well, I'm basically managing SGMC.
Oh, SGMC, I see. The one at this bridge.
At the bridge,
yeah. Yes, okay, great. And haven't seen you before. I'm staying at the bridge. No.
You're staying at the bridge. You can't see me because of the lockdown. I can't go in.
When I'm going back, I will see you. Yeah. Okay.
Is that you, Anthony?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, hi, Anthony. We
Anthony.
haven't had a chance to meet because your name says iPad 4. So,
correct, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if you were to ask me on healthcare itself, in the long run, since like 5 years, 10 years ago, there's a lot of hospitals from Singapore going into Cambodia. All right. So I personally brought in Parkway Health Group, all right, to conduct consultations, all right, for doctor. I mean, the day consultation for doctors, all right, during my earlier days, all right. So that is also a part where I also see a lot of gaps, all right, in Cambodian market, right. So the Cambodian itself, they are changing their way of healthcare, right. So number one, I think you know about the market is that those people on the lower affordability level, the nearest they will go to Vietnam. Those in the middle, they will go to Thailand, and those that are a bit more affluent, they will fly to Singapore or they will go to Japan or Korea, all right, for their medical needs itself, all right. So I feel that things are changing in the last 6 months to 1 year in the healthcare sectors in Cambodia. Is that they do not want to come to Singapore to seek medical treatment if they have a choice to do it in Cambodia, right? And that is actually a great step for you to take in Cambodia at this moment for to serve this market, right? So, example, for a Cambodian to come to Singapore to stay in the Mount Elizabeth, it will cost them a lot of money, and they not only have to pay for the hospital stays, they also have to bring their sister, their brother, their mother over, and there's a lot of hotel fees to pay as well, right? So recently we started to see even hospitals like Prestige Hospital, like Christopher, who set up the Prestige Hospital in Cambodia. They're doing a good job because now they are diverting all this Singapore traffic into their own centers in Cambodia. Yeah, so we believe that the consumer decision will change and will flow towards more of a Singapore establishment in your own city, like in Phnom Penh. They will come to you instead of they will come to Singapore. Yeah.
Yeah, but my question is, I think the government should be looking into clamping down illegal clinics and illegal practices, which is now growing quite rapidly in Cambodia itself, besides people like us bringing Singapore know-how, Singapore doctors, but we are facing many challenges of this sort in Cambodia. As you know, no matter how, Cambodia is still a cowboy town, and you've been there long enough, maybe you would be able to advise people like us, even people advising people like Chris and all our Singapore players. We got about 4 Singapore establishment medical centers is now in Cambodia. And all of us are not going to look in competing. We are going to look into collaborating together to build the Singapore standards up. But we are facing a lot of challenges in obtaining certain drugs in Cambodia, getting certain licensing, it's still a tough measure. When do you see all this getting over? And to be very honest, the Chinese is one big factor. They are there. Without them, Cambodia is dissolved. With them, there's problems. So this is a very hard thing to really maneuver, because with the Chinese too much, the high-end Cambodians don't even want to be with them. So you're getting the lower market, and the lower market, then again, it's not where we are looking at. In terms, we are looking at, as a medical provider, we're providing Singapore doctors, Singapore presence, and all that. So there is tough challenges for all the medical centers that are coming in, Prestige, ourselves, and many more. So I'm just saying that with your expertise, where do you see this improving into? Will the government be taking better measures to help in the healthcare? Because once the healthcare is secured, many Singaporeans and foreign investors will feel more comfortable in coming into the country.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, if you look into the healthcare sectors, I do not foresee any improvements, right? At least for the next 1 to 2 years, due to the COVID situations. Yeah, so it's very difficult for the government to change policies, right? And during this point in time, right? So I still foresee that there will still be a lot of illegal clinics coming up, right? And some of them will be owned by the Chinese, right? But the thing is, being Singapore branding, right? Your target market, your end consumer, you're targeting, we will be the affluence, right? So it's important that all the 4 medical centers in Cambodia really work together, right, to each expertise and grow the market share together, because in Cambodia, I really don't foresee things can move quickly in terms of the legislation changes unless the new blood takes over, right?
Yeah. So in our center, in Singapore Medical Center, like people were saying, why is Cambodia having so minimum COVID victims? So again, there's always 2 things on our head. Are they testing it? Are they doing it right? Are they reporting it right? Not like Singapore, we're doing everything to our best of ability, you see. So this is the difference, you see. So yes, I want to just advise everybody. So in terms of healthcare in Cambodia, it is getting there. It is improving, because there are more and more Singapore specialists coming into Cambodia to practice and provide you the healthcare at what Singapore standard is. But there are also some gray areas and certain gaps that we are also still facing. So just to make everybody feel comfortable, that's the reason why we invested into Cambodia in terms of healthcare, because there is always 2 sides of the coin in terms of the proceedings on any businesses. Yeah, thank you, Jason.
Yes, I was thinking that you can also target the affluent Chinese, right? They are also in need of top qualities healthcare, like SGMC can offer, right? So basically, it's more of a marketing game in Cambodia, right?
Yes, we do. We do have Chinese coming to us now. We do have Chinese coming to us because we have Chinese. I mean, we have Singapore doctor and Malaysian doctors that speak Chinese, so we are able to anticipate their service.
That's great.
Thank you.
And Anthony, I've been to your center.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, and I should tell everybody here, if you ever visit Cambodia, Phnom Penh, and especially if you're staying at the Bridge Club, right?
Yes.
Go to level 3, right?
Level 4.
Level 4, and go and try his hot sand spa. Wow, that one is excellent.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Yeah, the sand bath is something very different. Our center is basically integrated in medical and wellness together.
Wow, amazing. I hope I can be back to Cambodia to meet up with you soon, Anthony.
Sure, I'm waiting for the unlock to happen. Long overdue of things to be done there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
think we have
Yeah, I
time
mean,
for
your
one more
question, I think,
question.
needs to, yeah, your question would be, I mean, it will take some time for government in Cambodia to make changes to improve themselves. It's not immediate because there's a lot of policies that the government wants to do, but the thing is, they take some time to achieve it, right? So, any questions? Yeah.
Okay, wait. I think we have not much time. I just wanted to make sure that we are keeping to our timing. It's already 3:40. So we'll take one last question. But anyway, Jason, later on we will have breakout sessions. And breaking up into breakout rooms. You are co-host, so you get a chance to actually move from room to room to room, right? So for those of you who have questions, you may want to direct them directly to Jason when you are when he joins your room as well, so that there's a chance for you also to meet. I just want to quickly sort of remind everyone to join our WhatsApp chat. The link again has been sent by Trina to the Zoom chat so that you can sort of get in touch. Jason is also on that WhatsApp group. If you have a direct question you want to ask him, please go ahead. And then sometimes some of these questions maybe it's easier to get a sense, get a direct consult. He's obviously I think you'll be open to having a discussion, right? And to explore what are the possibilities in Cambodia, right? So any one last question? Yeah, see, I score already. Then
So maybe can you share with us about the financial market in Cambodia, as which is stock exchange now?
Okay, the stock exchange has just become livelier, right? I heard about the stock exchange opening in Cambodia since about mid of last year, right? And just about during this 1 or 2 months, there's a lot of movement, right? The largest bank just came on board to become public listed. So things are getting more organized in terms of the financial market. And if you were to go in during this COVID time, you probably can look at some good buys for the shares, right? Because when the stock market just open up in this country, all right, there's a lot of liquidity is going to come in because that is where prices will go up, you know. And it's good that you can locate some blue chips in the Cambodian context. Yeah. So things will be moving, and it's also getting easier for you to be listed in Cambodia, right? You know, it's like that, but do you want to be listed in Cambodia? That's another story. So, but if you want to be listed as a public listed company, known as some companies that is owned by the public, you know, you can try to look into Cambodia. It's available now.
Right, trading is available in Cambodia. How many listed companies here?
I think not many, still moving, right? So personally, we're actually looking at the Phnom Penh Special Economic Zone, all right, as some you know, some stocks that you can actually hold for a long term, all right, for the economic zone. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So Phnom Penh Special Economic Zone have the company listed inside as well. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. I just wanted to just keep our timing, and then it's already 3:45. So we will be setting up some breakout rooms once again to sort of have an open networking session. For those of you who have to run, don't worry. But if those of you can stay back, I hope that you get a chance to stay back, get to know and meet some people, make new friends. The breakout sessions are there for you to introduce yourself, what you do, and meet some and create some new connections, right? So thank you guys again for once again.
Hello, how many of us here? Hi, Yuxin, good to see you.
About 34. So, Alan, you want to keep the ball rolling?
34 of us? Wow.
Yeah.
So many of us here.
Okay, all the regular friends for
I-
good people, no need to introduce the rest.
Okay, okay, maybe we explain that usually what we do is we try to, get to know each other. 34 this time around is quite a big group, quite many of us. So why don't we do this? We will, I've already explained what I do, right? So maybe I will arrow someone to self-introduce, and the person who after self-introducing can arrow another person, so that we get a chance that everybody got can introduce everybody. So why don't I arrow Donna. Donna, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hi everyone. I'm Donna. Okay, very simple. I specialize in franchising, licensing, and internationalization. So I'm involved in international franchise, a lot of things, everything about franchising. And I'm also advisor for the association, SBF, and ASEAN. So that's basically, I'm one of the ASEAN mentor as well. Yes.
And of course, Donna herself used to run a franchise operation, right? So she speaks not only from theory, but from experience.
Yeah, do a lot of distribution. We have a consulting company. So yeah. Okay. I don't take up so much time.
Never mind. Okay, Donna, arrow someone. Pick someone from the screen.
My screen, Francis Ng.
Francis. Okay, Francis, introduce.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm actually from Friends for Good. I'm the nominations manager. Yeah, so really nice to learn and,
Hi.
Are we in a room?
I don't know. I was in my room, but after that they asked me. I was brought back to the main room.
I also was in a room, and then suddenly I also brought back to a room.
This is the
Thomas?
main room.
Is that Thomas? Is